हेलो डियर स्टूडेंट्स, आज की इस वीडियो में हम क्लास 9th साइंस इस बुक में से लाइफ प्रोसेसेस इन लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स इस लेसन के क्वेश्चंस सॉल्व करेंगे। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट। क्लास 9th साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी चैप्टर 15 एक्सरसाइज टेक्स्ट बुक क्वेश्चन एंड आंसर्स। क्वेश्चन 1 मैच द पेयर्स एंड एक्सप्लेन। आंसर Point number 1. Growth of pollen tube towards ovule. Chemotropic movement. Point number 2. Growth of shoot system. Phototropic movement. Point number 3. Growth of root system. Gravitropic movement. Point number 4. Growth towards water. Hydrotropic movement. Question 2. Complete the paragraph. The milk was on the stove. Rasika was engrossed watching television. She smelled something burning. She ran towards the kitchen. The milk was boiling over. She held the vessel with her bare hands but, screaming, she let it go at once. This activity was controlled by nerve cells. Special ends of dendrite in these cells collected the information, from where it was transferred to the cell body and then towards the terminal end of the axon. The chemicals produced at the terminal end passed through the minute space, i.e. synapse. In this way, impulses were conducted in the body and the process of reflex action was completed by conducting the impulses from nerve to muscle cell. Question 3. Write notes on Sub-question 1. Root pressure. Answer. Point number 1. Root cells are in contact with water and minerals in the soil. Point number 2. Water and minerals enter the cells of the root surface due to difference in concentration. As a result, these cells become turgid. Point number 3. This is called root pressure. Point number 4. Under the effect of this pressure, water and minerals reach the xylem of the roots, and to reduce this difference in concentration they are continuously pushed forward. Point number 5. As a result of this continuous movement, a water column is formed, which is continuously pushed ahead. Point number 6. This pressure is sufficient to lift the water up in shrubs, small plants and small trees. Sub-question 2. Transpiration. Answer. Point number 1. Plants give out water in the form of water vapor through the stomata on their leaves. This is known as transpiration. Point number 2. Two cells called guard cells are present around the stomata. They control the opening and closing of stomata. Point number 3. Water is released into the atmosphere by leaves through the process of evaporation. Point number 4. As a result, water in the epidermal layer of the leaf decreases. Point number 5. Water is brought up to the leaves through the xylem to compensate for the lost water. Point number 6. Transpiration helps in absorption of water and minerals and distribution to all parts of the plant. Sub-question 3. Nerve cell. Answer. Point number 1. Nerve cells, also called as neurons, are special types of cells which conduct impulses from one place to another in the body. Point number 2. Neurons are the structural and functional units of the nervous system. Point number 3. Nerve cells, the largest cell in the human body, may measure up to a few meters in length. Point number 4. Nerve cells have the ability to generate and conduct electrochemical impulse. Point number 5. The cells that support the nerve cells and help in their functioning are called neuroglia. Nerve cells and neuroglial cells together form nerves. Sub-question 4. Human brain. Answer. Point number 1. The brain is the main controlling part of the nervous system and is safely located in the cranial cavity. Point number 2. The brain is covered by protective layers called the meninges. Point number 3. Cavities present in various parts of the brain are called ventricles. Point number 4. The ventricles are filled with cerebrospinal fluid. This fluid supplies nutrients to the brain and also protects it from shock. Point number 5. The brain of an adult human weighs about 1300 to 1400 grams and consists of approximately 1 million neurons. Point number 6. The left side of our brain controls the right side of our body and right side of our brain control left side of the body. Point number 7. In addition, the left side of the brain controls our speech and conversation, writing, logical thinking, etc., whereas the right side controls artistic abilities. Human brain is made up of following parts. 1. Cerebrum. Point number 1. This is the largest part of the brain and consists of two cerebral hemispheres. These hemispheres are joined with each other with the help of tough fibers and nerve tracts. Point number 2. The cerebrum occupies 2/3 of the brain. Hence, it is also called as large brain. Point number 3. Its surface has deep, irregular ridges and grooves which are called convolutions. Convolution increases the surface area of the cerebrum and therefore a large number of nerve cells can be accommodated. Cerebellum. Point number 1. This is the smaller part of the brain situated below the cerebrum at the back of the cranial cavity. Point number 2. Its surface shows shallow grooves instead of deep convolutions. 3. Medulla oblongata. Point number 1. This is the hindmost part of the brain. Point number 2. There are two triangular swollen structures called pyramids on the upper side of medulla oblongata. Point number 3. The medulla oblongata continues downwards the spinal cord. Sub-question 5. Reflex action. Answer. Point number 1. An immediate and involuntary response given to a stimulus from the environment is called a reflex action. Point number 2. Sometimes we react to an incident without any thinking on our part or control over the reaction. Point number 3. This is a response given to a certain stimulus from the surroundings. Point number 4. In such situations, proper control and coordination is achieved even without intervention of the brain. Point number 5. For example, when our hand touches a hot object, the receptor in the skin detects the stimulus. The sensory neuron sends the impulse to the relay neuron in the spinal cord. The impulses are then sent to motor neurons which cause the muscles of the hand to contract and move away from the hot object. Point number 6. Spinal cord is the center of coordination for reflex actions. Question 4. Name the hormones of the following endocrine glands and the function of each. Sub-question 1. Pituitary. Answer. Answer is given directly. Sub-question 2. Thyroid. Answer. Answer is given directly. Sub-question 3. Adrenal. Answer. Answer is given directly. Sub-question 4. Thymus. Answer. Answer is given directly. Sub-question 5. Testis. Answer. Answer is given directly. Sub-question 6. Ovary. Answer. Answer is given directly. Question 5. Draw and label the diagrams. Sub-question 1. Human endocrine glands. Answer. Diagram is given directly. Sub-question 2. Human brain. Answer. Diagram is given directly. Sub-question 3. Nephron. Answer. Diagram is given directly. Sub-question 4. Nerve cell. Answer. Diagram is given directly. Sub-question 5. Human excretory system. Answer. Diagram is given directly. Question 6. Answer the following. Sub-question 1. Explain chemical coordination in humans and give the names and functions of some hormones. Answer. Chemical coordination in humans. Point number 1. In humans, chemical coordination is brought about with the help of certain chemical substances called hormones. Point number 2. Hormones are secreted by endocrine glands. These glands are also called ductless glands. Point number 3. These glands do not have any arrangement of their own to either store or carry their secretions. So, the hormones are directly released into the blood circulation. Point number 4. Though the endocrine glands are present at specific locations in our body, their secretions reach all parts of the body via the blood. Point number 5. Endocrine glands along with the nervous systems are responsible for control and coordination in our body. These two systems help each other to control and integrate the various activities of the body. Point number 6. A marked difference between these two systems is that nerve impulses are fast but short-lived, whereas the action of hormones is very slow but long-lasting. Point number 7. It is very important that hormones are secreted only in the required quantity, and there is a special mechanism which controls the quantity and timing of hormone secretion. Point number 8. For example, whenever there is an increase in blood glucose level, certain cells in the pancreas get stimulated, and as a response, they release a greater quantity of insulin, thus bringing down the sugar level to normal. Names and functions of some hormones. Answer is given directly. Sub-question 2. Explain the difference between the excretory system of humans and plants. Answer. Answer is given directly. Sub-question 3. Explain coordination in plants with the help of suitable examples. Answer. Point number 1. Plants do not have systems like the nervous system or muscular system. Point number 2. In plants, movements are mainly in the form of responses given to the stimuli. Point number 3. Plants show two types of movements: growth-relevant movements and growth-irrelevant movements. Point number 4. Movement or growth of any part of the plant in response to an external stimulus is called tropism or tropic movement. Point number 5. Examples of growth-relevant movements are: the shoot system of any plant responds to the light stimulus, i.e., it grows towards the source of light. This is called phototropic movement. Point number 6. The root system of plants responds to stimuli like gravitation and water. These responses are called gravitropic movement and hydrotropic movement respectively. Point number 7. Movement shown by plants in response to specific chemicals is called chemotropic movement. For example, the growth of the pollen tube towards the ovule. Point number 8. Some specific movements of the plants do not lead to the plant growth. Such movements are called growth-irrelevant movements. As a response to changes in the surroundings, plant hormones bring about various movements in plants. Point number 9. Examples of growth-irrelevant movements are closing of leaflets of touch-me-not, mimosa, plant on touch. In the plant called Venus flytrap. When an insect visits the flower-like trap, the trap closes up and the trapped insect is digested by the plant. Point number 10. The lotus flower opens during daytime while that of the tuberose opens at night. Point number 11. In plants like touch-me-not, mimosa, movement also occurs at places other than where it has been touched. Hence, we can infer that the information about the touch must have been released within the plant from one place to another. Point number 12. Plants use electrochemical impulses for transfer of information from one place to another. Plant cells change their shape by increasing or decreasing the water content, and thereby bring about the movements of plants. Question 7. Explain in your own words with suitable examples. Sub-question 1. What is meant by coordination? Answer. Point number 1. Several different organ systems function in multicellular organisms. Point number 2. Their life goes on smoothly if there is coordination between different organ systems or organs and the stimuli in the surrounding. Point number 3. Depending upon this, we can say that systematic regulation of different processes can be called control, and bringing about the different processes in the proper sequence is called coordination. Point number 4. If any activity in the body is to be completed successfully, proper coordination between different systems and organs participating at different steps of that activity is necessary. Point number 5. If due to lack of coordination, there is confusion at any step, the activity may not get completed. There should be no randomness at any step. Point number 6. There should be proper coordination between internal activities of the body resulting from various factors like body temperature, water level, enzyme level, etc. or stimuli arising in the surrounding environment. Point number 7. Proper coordination between various systems of an organism helps to maintain a state of equilibrium called homeostasis, which is necessary for the optimal efficiency of the body. Sub-question 2. How does excretion occur in human beings? Answer. Point number 1. Removal of wastes from the body is very important, and it is the excretory system that carries out this function. Point number 2. The human excretory system consists of a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters, the urinary bladder, and the urethra. Urine is formed by the kidneys by separating the waste and unwanted excess substances from the blood. Point number 3. The functional unit of the kidney that performs the basic function of filtration is called a nephron. The urea produced in the liver comes into the blood. Point number 4. When the urea containing blood comes into the glomerulus, it is filtered through capillaries, and urea and other similar substances are separated from it. Point number 5. Water molecules and small molecules of some other substances can cross the semi-permeable membrane of Bowman's capsule. Point number 6. The solution accumulated in the cavity of Bowman's capsule passes into the tubular part of the nephron. Here, molecules of water and some other useful substances are reabsorbed into the blood. Point number 7. Urine is formed from the remaining solution, which is full of waste materials. The urine is carried by the ureters and stored in the urinary bladder. Afterwards, urine is given out through the urethra. Sub-question 3. How is excretion in plants useful to human beings? Answer. Point number 1. Plants give out oxygen during photosynthesis by diffusion, which is useful to human beings for respiration. Point number 2. Some waste materials of plants, for example, gum, resin, latex of rubber, etc., are useful to humans. Sub-question 4. Describe the transportation system in plants. Answer. Point number 1. Plants have two types of conducting tissues, i.e., xylem, which conducts water, and phloem, which conducts food. Point number 2. During transpiration, water is released into the atmosphere. Point number 3. As a result, water level is the epidermal layer of the leaf decreases. Point number 4. Water is brought up to the leaves through the xylem so as to compensate for the lost water. Point number 5. Transpiration helps in absorption of water and minerals and distribution to all parts of the plant, whereas root pressure performs the important role of pushing the water up at night time. Point number 6. The food produced by leaves is transported to each cell of the plant through phloem. Point number 7. When the food material like sucrose is transported towards a part of the plant through phloem, using ATP, the water concentration in that part decreases. Point number 8. As a result, water enters the cell by diffusion. The pressure on the cell wall increases due to increase in the cellular contents. Point number 9. Due to the increased pressure, food is pushed into the neighboring cells where the pressure is low. Point number 10. This process helps the phloem to transport the materials as per the need of the plant.
Great video. Mom,
Yes.
I found the good channel for study.
Great. Like the video, share it to your school friends. Subscribe to it. But what's the channel's name?
Wings of Fire Academy.